we have to discuss South African experience of Gandhi, the concept of Satyagraha, and once we've understood the concept of Satyagraha, we'll come to India and we'll talk about Kheda, Ahmedabad, and Champaran. So we finally bring back Gandhi in 1915 to India, and we would have to understand it in the larger context of things. South African experience, and why is the South African experience so important? Because a lot of people just talk about advent of Gandhi. They don't talk about why was South Africa so important. What was so special about South Africa that it became the stepping stone to what Gandhi was in India in that sense. Umeda, you can skip it. The PPTs are enough plus NCRT. Recorded, Yashi. Okay. Now, can we begin for today? Come on. We waited 5 minutes for everybody to join in. As the a lot of directions. You saw the three different ways in which Indian nationalism was pulling, which is, for example, the INC level politics, political extremism, the Surat split, the concept of what we call as the Lucknow Pact. On the other hand, there was another thing which was revolutionary activities. Revolutionary activities are happening in India and outside India. So basically, we have different strands which are there. You have the Home Rule League movement. The politics in India itself was based on certain understandings of nationalism, be it conservative or very, very limited of the moderates, to what was happening outside. So Indian nationalism was basically pulling in on multiple directions. But what all of them lacked, irrespective of whatever they were, was that we can never call any of this nationalism mass nationalism. We never call any of this mass nationalism because it is only one man who made Indian nationalism mass nationalism. It is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Before him, while revolutionary activities were about individuals, the INC was about the politics, the home ruling was about still taking the people forward. Gadar, again very limited. Swadeshi movements, less specific to Bengal. Nothing really was the epitome of what we call as mass nationalism. Mass nationalism means everybody is part of the national movement. Everyone. Specifically, the peasant and the worker, the person who in the rural India, the rural sector itself, at the grassroots level, he is linked up to national movement itself. There's no person who had ever envisaged that. No person has ever thought of that. Nobody had a ground plan for that. Nobody believed in the peasant. But between 1915 and 1918, one man is going to change that. And we have to understand why was Gandhi Gandhi when he landed in India on 9 January 1915. What was so special about him? And more than that, what was attracting people to him? More than that, Gandhi had a specific methodology. But that methodology had been already refined in South Africa. And that is why a lot of people don't talk about Gandhi's South African experience. But it is in South Africa where Gandhi went through a very important phase, which allowed him to land in India and be on the accelerator as soon as he came. So, as of right now, there's a certain image or certain image of nationalism in front of us. Whilst it is in a lot of directions, none are mass nationalism. Can we agree to this? Can we agree to this? We can agree to this, then we talk about Gandhi. Very good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a timeline here. Timeline of Gandhi till 1918, and then we'll discuss the nitty-gritties or the details of this timeline. But this is the basic timeline in which we work today. We'll go back in time a little bit. We'll go back in time a little bit. And this is where our story is going to start today, which is 1869, which is the birth of Gandhi. Then 1876, 1888, 1891, 1893, 1896 till 1906, then 1915, and thereafter 1916, 1917 and 1918. So you can see we have entered 20th century now, and we are discussing the major timeline of Gandhi. This is the basic details which you need to know about Gandhi. So he was born on 2nd October 1869 in Gujarat, Kathiawar sector, Porbandar. Thereafter, he was born to not a very poor family, but a very wealthy family, which is basically his father was a diwan of the princely state of Kathiawar. So he comes from a very good family that way. And that is why his education will begin at a very young age in that sense. Basically, he will start to study in Rajkot. But the year 1888 was a very important year for him, because he will depart for London to do his law studies, and he will complete his law degree in 1891. And in 1893, he will reach South Africa. As he will be given a job, first barrister job by a person called Dada Abdullah. Who was a Gujarati merchant in South Africa. Thereafter, Gandhi, I will tell you why this state is very important, will experience real colonialism for the first time. But this is the most important phase for us, because this is called, barrister means lawyer. This is what is called the moderate phase of Gandhi. It is this that we were fortunate that Gandhi had already gone through his moderate phase in South Africa. And that is why by the time he lands in India, he already had gone through his moderate. I told you everybody has a moderate phase. I will discuss the details about that. But this is the most important period in that sense. Thereafter, this is called the Satyagraha phase. And we will discuss here 4 acts which will be very, very important. The Registration Act, the Immigration Act, the poll tax, and the Marriage Act. And thereafter, he will, on 9th January 1915, come back to India. 1916, travel India. And in 1917 and 18, you have Champaran, Kheda, and Ahmedabad. His three initial Satyagraha. Now, this is basically the timeline we work with today. This is what we need to understand. Is that why is the moderate phase of Gandhi and what is Satyagraha? What is the Satyagraha phase? What are these acts? And basically, this whole period is mostly ignored by people and don't really realize the importance of this period. This South African experience, that is called South African experience, as it is called, is the real magic of Gandhi. And why he will change Indian politics as soon as he will land in 1915. Now, basic point of the matter is that do you need to learn these dates? Technically not. But Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad, 1915 are very standard dates which you need to know, obviously. But his life dates, it's totally on you. So this is where or what we are going to discuss today. Now, if this is clear, what is the vision for today, then we can go into the nitty-gritty. The details of the story and what is the story of him being thrown out of a carriage to what he really saw in South Africa, what changed him, what do I mean by moderate phase, what is the concept of Satyagraha. So can we discuss this? Yes? Very good. So we'll revisit it from time to time. Now let's talk about Gandhi. So I have PPT as the details, but I want to talk to you about Gandhi. Now he comes from a wealthy family. So we are now going back. No issues, Khadija, no issues at all. We are going now back and starting a story with the birth of Gandhi. So Gandhi was born into a very good family. He's coming from a very important community, which is the merchant community of Gujarat. And that in itself says quite a lot, because the merchant community had a lot of power, and as it is, they had a lot of resilience. They always used to push for concessions. So they are very, very adamant. They're very adamant community. But when Gandhi was born, he had a lot of influence of his mother, Putli Bai. And basically, his mother comes from the Vaishnavite community of Gujarat. What I'm trying to discuss here is formative influences. The question is, why is Gandhi Gandhi? That is the question. You will ask me these questions, and what is that about Gandhi that changed Indian nationalism? Leaders were already there, but what is he all about? So we're trying to decode Gandhi. So we all understand the purpose here, I hope. But what are we trying to do here? It's about decoding the enigma, the power of Gandhi. In order to do that, we have to understand his methods. And coming from the Vaishnavite community, his mother believed in a very important thing, which is the concept of fasting and self-sacrifice and suffering. Very simply, I'm going to discuss with you Gandhi. Don't worry. I'm trying to build up his personality. I'm trying to bit by bit piece in Gandhi for you. So basically, coming from this community of Vaishnavite, he believes very strongly because he saw his mother do what is called self-purification processes, or what we call as fasting. And this is a very important aspect about Gandhi. Very, very important, important aspect about Gandhi, that he was influenced by everyone he actually met and was basically a part of his own history. He embodied everything. So his mother's major influence on him was the fact that he believed that fasting was a legitimate method of self-suffering and self-sacrifice. And you will see that he will make this a very important part of his journey. Very important part of his journey. And within 2 years of coming back to India, he will be using this method also. So even before he's gone anywhere, he's influenced by his mother's morality and ethics, the concept of fasting, self-sacrifice, Vaishnavite community, and concept of devotion. But Gandhi also realizes one thing here, is that religion is an important part and to some level inseparable part of people's life. That somehow you can separate everything, somehow you can remove anything. But religion is something which is close to everybody. And looking at his mother and her devotion to religion, he was very close to this concept that religion can change and religion can influence. And you can see, I'll tell you how these things really matter. So within India, Gandhi is getting education from the Rajkot College. He's developing his understanding of the world. But because he's in a princely state, technically in a princely state, where the British rule is not direct but indirect, he's not very linked to or very close to the grassroots level realities. He's not very close to the grassroots level realities because he comes from a wealthy family. He's detached from the realities of colonialism. He's not seen colonialism as it should be, and because it's a merchant community, the merchant community had a lot of opportunity with the coming of the British. Gujarati merchants, as it is, were very, very wealthy. So his community and his experience was not very true to what actually was happening in India. And Gandhi has this innocence in him as of right now, which he will take with him to somewhere to London also. Till this point, everybody is understanding what is the influence of Gandhi, Gandhi's mother, the concept of fasting. You can see small points I'm adding to his personality. Now in 1888, Gandhi decides that he would not like to pursue his community's career, but rather want to go to London to pursue the law degree. But when Gandhi was going, there was a lot of resistance from his community, because going to London, crossing the seas was something, though it's a merchant community, but his small community, his own family never agreed to him going to London. So basically, Gandhi actually had to fight. to go to London, and he was in a way also deemed as an outcast. As an outcast, people said that now that you're leaving for London, do not come back. There's nothing for you in India. And this is going to be very valuable information to us, because that is why his choice to go to South Africa. So Gandhi, when he did go to London, he had to literally fight with his family, his community, which was based on the concept of crossing the seas, as you remember, Saat Samundar Par. And basically, the concept of losing caste, though Gandhi did not care that much, was something which will stay with him. Now, between 1888 to 1893, 1888 to 1893, these 5 years, he is in London. Who is sending to London? Who is sending him to London? He's applied to a college, he got there and he's going. He has the money to go to London. So why not? If I give you an option to go to pursue something in London, why not? So he had an opportunity to pursue the law degree, which was the only degree available. It's not a coincidence that most of the lawyers were educated in London. London had the best education at this point of time. So 1888, he will leave to go to London. And these 5 years, he will be in London. But again, Gandhi's innocence with regards to colonialism is somehow again protected in London, because in London, he again did not see the real face of colonialism. Somehow for Gandhi, colonialism was much milder initially, because he had not seen the real face of colonialism. He had not seen how the British used to beat up, how they literally hanged every Alipur conspiracy case personality, how they were tortured. He had not seen discrimination. And London at this point of time is a cosmopolitan city. So he is welcomed there also. The real face of colonialism is still not in front of Gandhi. So till 1893, Gandhi has not experienced colonialism. That is a simple point. He has not really experienced what is true British rule. But this London experience, cosmopolitan means very open, tolerant, everybody's coming together, mixture, melting pot. Now, being a cosmopolitan city and being in London was again important for Gandhi, because here he will read 2-3 very important personalities which will have a very important impact on him. So in these 5 years in London, he is going to read 2 very important personalities. One is called Ruskin, other Tolstoy. Ruskin and Tolstoy are two Western thinkers. Not Ruskin Bond, please. No, Ruskin Bond is a totally different person. Ruskin Bond, not Ruskin Bond. Ruskin. Again, not Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, we read, is child author. Does not exist in 1888. So, Ruskin and Tolstoy, these are Western thinkers. And what is common to them? John Ruskin. If you want to, I'll write John Ruskin before someone understands Ruskin Bond. John Ruskin. What is common to these two personalities? Yeah, Leo Tolstoy. Yes, Leo Tolstoy. What is common to these two personalities is that they talk about morality, truthfulness, and what we call as passive resistance. And this word is very, very important for us, which is passive resistance, which I will talk to you about. Basically, they talk about how your morals need to be uncompromisable. Truth is something which you need to seek. And not all resistance should be active. I will tell you, just hold on to the concept of passive resistance. I'm coming to it very soon. So basically, he will develop his larger ideology of truthfulness, morality, uncompromising ideals. The concept that ideals are very important is something which he will pick up from here. But we all can agree that still Gandhi is in a cushion. He's in a pillow of British colonialism, which not everybody has and not everybody has seen. So I'll give you the names of the book. Don't worry. First, listen to me. Can we all agree that till 1893 he has this basic innocence, which he does, which is that he's not seen colonialism. He's not seen it in his home. He's not seen it in London. He believes that the British are very just and believe in law. According to his mind, Meenu, wait on passive resistance, I will tell you. In his mind, the British believe in law, equality of law. Law prevails for them. Something very important, the justness of British. And we all know that is all a sham. It is technically all incorrect and untrue. But he has this moderate type of mentality, which is the justness of British rule. British rule is about grandeur. It's about power. It's about law. It's about equality of law, rule of law. The first democracy of the world itself, the constitutional monarchy of Britain, is something which is divine. It is something which everybody wants. And this is what he embodies, So, what I'll do is that I'll repeat this whole part for you in the way of this PPT. Can we just repeat this basic part before going to South Africa? Because South Africa, things will change very quickly. Right? So, 2nd October 1869, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is born in Kathiawar, Porbandar. He will start his education in Rajkot. Will be married to Kasturba Gandhi at a very young age, child marriage. And he will leave on 4th September 1888 to go to London and study law. The initial formative influences on Gandhi was that his mercantile community never took injustice very well, and resistance and protest was something which was part of his DNA. Then from his mother, he takes the concept of self-suffering and fasting, which is Mother Putlibai. And he stood for himself, fought with his elders to go to London. And there he will read Tolstoy, The Kingdom of the God is Within You. And emphasize or pick up the concept of morality, truthfulness and simplicity. He will further read John Ruskin until the last. You don't have to learn this, but somebody wanted the details, which is the concept of simple, self-sufficient community living. He'll also read Ralph Waldo Emerson about individualism and the individual being important, how an individual can change the world. And in the end, Thoreau, he will take up this concept of resistance through disobedience. through disobedience, very important for his ideal of Satyagraha, which we are going to discuss very soon. So if they ask you who are the people who influenced Gandhi initially, very simply, you have his mother, his mercantile community, Ruskin, Tolstoy, Thoreau, and Ralph Waldo. And these are the ones who teach him about morality, simplicity, disobedience, community living, and truthfulness. And on the other hand, the mercantile community is about resistance, and mother is about self-suffering and fasting. You just hold on to this information and you will realize what it means. What it means in the larger context. It can be asked in the paper, in mains level examination, what are the formative influences on Gandhi? Can we all agree to this basic image of Gandhi? A person who believes in justness. Disobedience is to not agree with something. Disobedient. I ask you to do something, you don't do it. So basically, Gandhi in front of us as of right now. This is Gandhi, and Gandhi embodies all these ideals. But the problem is that he has not seen colonialism in true form and innocence towards the British and the concept of very simply the real picture not there. If we all agree, then we move forward. It's not about disobedience, it's about disobedience as form of resistance. I will tell you that. Don't worry about that. We all can agree to this basic concept, then only we go forward. I want you to imagine Gandhi standing for the ship which takes him to South Africa, with all this twinkle in his eyes, with heart filled with the British law, the faith in the justness of the British, that the British can only do good, no bad. And this is the Gandhi which stands in front of us. And he is this suit boot Gandhi who thinks that only good things can happen under British rule. This is the Gandhi who leaves to South Africa. Can we agree to this? Come on. Can we agree to this? In London, obviously, he will not see the real picture. He's talking about vegetarianism, talking about non-eating meat. He's talking about truthfulness. If he would actually have ever seen the real face, he would not talk about that in that any sense. Now, Gandhi, like every budding professional, like you, like me, now gets the first offer of his life in 1893 by a person who was living in a British colony, South Africa. South Africa is a British colony. And from there, he gets one telegram. Dada Abdullah is going to say to Gandhi, and Dada Abdullah was a merchant who stayed in South Africa, and he is a Gujarati merchant. So the Gujarati connection helps him. So Dada Abdullah is going to offer his first, or rather, Dada Abdullah will offer Gandhi his first job, which was to come and defend the Indian community in a small case in Pretoria. Pretoria is the capital of South Africa. So Gandhi, why did he not go to India? If he had got an offer from India, why did he not go to India? Going back to India because of the fight to come to London, and how he had been humiliated, and outcasted, humiliated and outcasted by his community. So a lot of you ask me, sir, why did he go to South Africa? Why didn't he come to India? The reason is that Dada Abdullah will offer him a job itself, and he will very happily take it, because he will have to go to South Africa, which is a British colony, but he technically does not have to go to India, where he was humiliated before he was leaving. So the basic point of the matter is, he will board a ship called SS Safari, and he was not ready to, though briefly the ship was planned to stop in India. He was not ready to get down, or was not inclined to be in India because of that humiliation, and that is why he was very happy to go to South Africa. Now the point is, you should ask me this question, very, very simple question. What are Indians doing in South Africa? What are Indians doing in South Africa? What are Indians doing in South Africa? Slavery, laborers. Now, yes, Aman, an important word is called Indian community in South Africa. Was what we call as indentured labor. Can I discuss the concept of indentured labor with you? Can we discuss indentured labor? Yes? Now for that I need one paper. Give me 1 second. Okay. So in 1893, did Gandhi not? I don't know, Didi, where you're coming from. That information I'm not sure about. Talking about Jainism, I don't have any idea about that. Okay. Indian community, indentured labor. Now, the concept of indentured labor is very simple. Very simple. I am in India. I want to go to South Africa. Would it be cheap to go to South Africa? No. So there's a cost to go to South Africa. For example, 100 pounds. Now I can't afford it. But South Africa, there is need for labor. So what used to happen is that contractors used to sit in India, and they were ready to pay off this 100 pounds. They were ready to pay the cost of journey. But the rule was that when you reach into South Africa, you will work to pay off your debt or cost of journey. So basically, it is like temporary slavery. Temporary slavery. Mostly 5 years in which you work for free to pay off the contractor. The contractor. You get to go to South Africa. After 5 years, you have the opportunity to become free and technically stay in South Africa. It's temporary slavery, not proper black slavery, but it's 5 years it is going to take, because 100 pounds is a very big amount. Very big amount. They would earn 50-60 cents. And that too, it will take them 2 pound, 3 pound they would earn in 1 year. So it used to take a lot of time. But the question is, why is it called indenture? Why is it called indenture? The name is indentured labor. Why is it called indentured? Have you ever wondered why the word indentured? They can call them temporary slaves also. Now, the reason lies in this paper. Basically, when an indentured labor used to go for a contract, on this paper, on the upper side and the lower side, there would be a form that I agree to go to South Africa and pay or work for free for the payment of 100 pounds, which is my journey. Same thing would be written down, same thing would be written up, like you've seen a challan, how it is. And this is the contract which binds them. However, what the contractor used to do was, he used to tear the paper. He should tear the paper into two. One he would keep, and the other one the laborer would have. Now there is no ID card, no Aadhaar card that basically you go for the Aadhaar authentication that you are the same person. But basically, the word indenture comes because these indentures are marked together. When I will bring this paper together, it will in turn match. So this is called indentures. You can do it yourself. If you tear a paper, there's a tear mark. And this is called indentured or indentures. That is why the concept of indentured labor. The concept is based on the contract, that the contract has to match. I have taken this with me, and in South Africa, he is going to match it. And if it matches together, then it becomes the same contract itself. So now, this is what the Indian community is known for in South Africa. Major indentured labor in South Africa. They work together. In so small bands, but in South Africa, Indians are a different shade of color. You have whites, you have blacks, and the Indians come in between, which is brown. And neither are they white or they are black, but discrimination is based on color. Discrimination is based on color. So the simple point here is that the Indian community in South Africa was a major community. Some of them were indentured labor, some of them had worked off their indenture. So there are both types. Now please remember this point because I need this for you. Concept of free Indian and an indentured Indian. Free Indian is the one who has paid off his indenture, and the indentured Indian is the one who is still working under the contract. Is this point clear, everyone? Is this point clear? That what are the Indians doing in South Africa? Now, Gandhi reaches Durban and he has to take a train to Pretoria. And it is here that he will actually get the real taste of colonialism. He will buy a first class ticket. Firstly, he had the money to buy the first class ticket. He will buy the first class ticket, and taking that first class ticket, he will sit in the first class coach, which very, very categorically had a very important board on it, which said whites only. It said whites only. And Gandhi, oblivious, the innocent Gandhi, not seen what it meant to be in British colonial colony or in British colonial colony or area. And from Durban, he will take this train, but a white passenger is going to become uncomfortable sitting with the brown Gandhi. And at the Pittsburgh, it's also called, the pronunciation matters. At the Pittsburgh station, Gandhi will be thrown off the first class coach. He'll be literally picked up and thrown on to the station, and he will be said that go back to where you belong and go to the coach which belongs to you, which is the third class or general coach itself. Now Gandhi sees and Gandhi knows and is able to see what British colonialism is, which is based on racism, discrimination. He will say that I have legitimately bought this first class ticket. The person will take the ticket and tear it and say, we don't care if you bought it or not. He will protest. The innocent lawyer, barrister, the lawyer Gandhi is going to protest, but nothing is going to happen. He will go and sit in the station master's office and say, I legitimately bought this ticket. I am entitled to be in the first class, and I am the part of the British Empire. I am a lawful citizen of the British Empire. How can I be thrown off the coach? The train will leave, but Gandhi will not leave that office. The resistance in Gandhi is already there. But now Gandhi sees that everywhere is not London, that you can sit with the whites and the whites will not say anything. Thereafter, he will be reallocated to another train. He was a barrister at the end of the day, but he will then go for the night to hotels to stay. Every hotel, as soon as he reaches, was full, because nobody is going to give a brown man a room in South Africa, specifically in this area. He will then come back to the station and stay in the cold of the station and wait for the next train. He will again board the first class, but this time he will not be thrown off, but literally beaten up in the train itself for sitting with the whites. He will again protest that you cannot throw me off the station. And later he will go in the coach in which the driver sits. He said, I will not go to the black coach. I will not go to third class. I have paid for this ticket. I will not go to where the other people are. I have my right to stay in the first class. Though he will not go in the first class, the TT is going to give him the driver's coach. The driver and the operator where they sleep, he will be given that. So in a way, a small victory, but now Gandhi sits there knowing what it means to be an Indian in South Africa, what it means to be part of the colonial structure, the colonial empire. British colonialism had shown Gandhi what it truly is. And that is why people say that that was the moment in which Gandhi realized that not everything is rosy and all twinkly, how everything was in London. British colonialism on the ground worked totally different. And more than that, the testimony to that is that Gandhi reached and promised to only stay for 3 months. However, between 1893 and 96, he will thereafter start to understand what was happening in South Africa. He was the only Indian who was literate at this point of time in South Africa. And that is why every Indian used to look up to him. He will only promise to stay for 3 to 4 months, maximum a year, and he will only leave South Africa in 1915. In 1915, after spending close to 20 years in South Africa. Now, why am I talking about South Africa? You understand the major turning point in his life, the incident which is quoted quite a lot, being thrown out of the train. Now I need to tell you, why is this period so important? Why is that we are so obsessed with, or we are so keen to understand the South African experience? And that is linked to this period between 1893-96 to 1906, which is called the moderate phase of Gandhi. I have all details with me, don't have to worry. Once I'm done with this discussion, I will talk about moderate phase. Gandhi now has seen the real face of colonialism. He is now representing Dada Abdullah in his different types of cases. But now Gandhi starts to think. Now you see, why do I call it the moderate phase of Gandhi? In Gandhi's mind, now listen, in Gandhi's mind, the problem is that the British don't know about the realities of colonialism at the grassroots level. And if he is going to petition and make them show or write big letters and show them that there's a problem, that he was thrown off a train, the British will be just and will act in their legal manner. Where have we heard this argument previously? That the British are oblivious, वो जानते नहीं, they don't know that things are happening on the ground. Yes, the moderates in India. This is why we believe that Gandhi had to go through his moderate phase, and he went through it in South Africa. That is why Gandhi's South African experience is very important, because when he landed in India, he did not believe in the British. His belief will be taken away bit by bit between 96 and 1906. In this 10 years, he will literally write petitions every day to the Secretary of State, to even Lords, the Viceroys in India. He will write it to the Queen, to the Parliament, to everybody. The Viceroy in South Africa, he will write it to everyone. But we know very well what happens to moderate agenda. Please, prayer, petition, please. The British don't care. And going through this was very important, because Gandhi, like everyone else, had to go through certain process. And that process is that in South Africa itself, he went through the process. He said that if I am going to help the Britishers in the Boer Wars, which is in the fighting with the Dutch, he had an ambulance corps in which he is going to take 1100 Indians to help the British in the war. Again, discriminated nothing at all, though he was given the title of Kaisar Hind. Thereafter, he will start an Indian newspaper, or buy a newspaper called Indian Opinion. He will then write a lot of pages, a lot of different articles about the realities of Indians in South Africa. The basic point of the matter is, Gandhi at all points will have an intrinsic faith in the British, which we will see as late as in the First World War and the Second World War. But the basic point is, Gandhi went through this whole process. And it is like you have to go through this process. And this is the valuable aspect of South Africa, that India, he did not waste time. Are you getting this point, that why the moderate phase of Gandhi is extremely important, which technically is linked to the South African experience? Because if he had not gone through this, he would have gone through it in India. So rather he did it in South Africa. And in 1906, he will then lose faith and develop a methodology which will change Indian history forever, which is called Satyagraha. So if we understand this basic point, can we read it through the PPT? He stayed in South Africa because he was fighting for the indentured labor. When his work was done in South Africa, he will leave. He will not leave before he will get the people justice. So very simply, let's try to look at Gandhi's South African experience. Background of South Africa is very simple. There's a strong superiority which the whites assert, and the feeling of superiority which the whites have. And there's also the discrimination of Indians at all levels vis-a-vis the blacks and the whites. And this is something which Gandhi had never seen. Gandhi had never seen. And that is why when in June of 1893, he will be thrown out at the Pietermaritzburg station, that moment will change everything. That moment will change everything, because now Gandhi will see that what real colonialism was. What real colonialism was. Now, I'll come back to this slide again, but basically, he will go through his moderate phase. He'll go through his moderate phase, where first he will find a concept of Natal Indian Congress. Natal is a place. Natal is a place.
Hello.
And at Natal, he will find the Natal Indian Congress to fight prejudice. Then he will even ask Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who Gandhi considers his political guru, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, to move a motion in the Congress in India, which is the Calcutta Congress session in 1901, about South Africa, how South Africa is technically being discriminated against, but we Indians had bigger issues to solve. And he will then also find what is called the Transvaal British India Association. Can you see the moderate influence in this name? Can you tell me what is that? What is that word which tells us that it is moderate? Very good. Perfect. British. That word Transvaal British India Association tells us that Gandhi still believes that there is something intrinsically good about the British. And that is why he will pick up and manage this paper called the Indian Opinion. And finally, he will find a place in Phoenix. Phoenix is a place again, where he will bring in all the indentured laborers together. But this is where his story stops with regards to moderates. Moderate. And his real story will start from here, which I'm going to discuss with you, which is called the Satyagraha phase, because there will be a trigger for that. There will be a trigger for that. Now, let me read out the moderate phase to you, and then we'll talk about his Satyagraha phase. Gandhi's political activities from 1894, you will find 1896 or even 1893, all dates would be correct, may be classified as the moderate phase for struggle for Indians in South Africa. Now, please listen to the words. This is not given in Spectrum. It's a optional level book. I'm giving you this excerpt out of. During this phase, he concentrated on petitioning and sending memorials to South African legislature, colonial secretary in London, and British Parliament. Prayer and petition. P. And this is the belief he embodies. He believed that if all the facts of the case were presented to the imperial government, the British sense of justice and fair play would be aroused, and the imperial government would intervene on the behalf of the Indians, who were, after all, British subjects. If somehow we had this innocence today in this world, he believed that the British have a sense of justice. The fact that he is acting like a moderate here. Moderate mentality, which is the intrinsic faith in the British, that if British were just blinded, they were not able to see their own exploitation. Everything was fine, but just that The people of Britain, the British Parliament did not know how brutal the British were. And this is the innocence which Gandhi had to go through. And that is why I tell you, every person has to go through a moderate phase. Now, do you realize why moderates are a very important part of any process, any movement, or any larger form of resistance? Because if you will not lose this faith, then only you go to your real phase in which you have no faith in the person in front of you. His attempt was to unite different sections of the Indians and demand everything publicly. He tried it via the Natal Indian Congress, the Indian paper, through the Indian opinion. However, by 1906, Gandhi had fully tried the moderate methodology, and now he was convinced that nothing else is going to work. He has to move on. And therein comes and the rise of what we call as Satyagraha phase. Now, can I discuss what is this concept of Satyagraha? Okay. Everything is making sense till this point. I hope you are understanding this, because Gandhi is never taught in this perspective. We have to see Gandhi in the larger perspective of his South African experience, because his South African experience is something which changes him quite fully together. Now, what is the concept of Satyagraha? And the Satyagraha phase will be triggered by an act called the Registration Act. So, do you want me to discuss the act first or the method first? The act first, then method. Okay. No issues. See, the way Gandhi actually became what he was that in 1906 there was an act which was introduced, which is called the Registrations Act. And under Registrations Act, there's a clause now. There's a clause, and the clause is that every Indian needs to carry with him or her a photo identity card with fingerprints and failing to do so would be punishable by jail. Imagine today the government of India says that every man, woman, wherever you are, wherever you go, wherever you are, and wherever you're going, has to carry the Aadhaar card with them always, at all times. And the police has the right, police can ask for it at any time. And this only applies to Indians. This is the concept. Every moment, every time, you need to carry a photo ID card. And it's technically called surveillance, that you want to check, are you a legally person or in India? Are you a person who has not done some crime? The basic point is the Registration Act is a proper form of surveillance and control. To some level, this is still there in America. If you go today, if you're an Indian citizen, you have to carry your passport with you. But the police can ask you, you don't have to carry it with you forever. But here the concept is at all times. At all times. And now Gandhi saw this as a moment of, or as a testimony to the concept of the civil rights or human rights being taken away. And now this is what is going to change his outlook. And he will say, enough is enough. We will now give up honor, prayer, and petition. And we now follow my methodology of Satyagraha and something called non-cooperation. So I will now discuss Satyagraha with you. You understand the starting point. The starting point is the Registration Act, but there are 4 acts which I need to discuss with you. But you understand the starting point. Now let me discuss with you Satyagraha. Now Satyagraha literally means Satya ka agrah, which is to push for truth or struggle for truth. But the word which he used was actually, this was all in South Africa. The word which he used first was not Satyagraha, but the first time he used the word passive resistance. And therein comes the concept of resistance and passive. Now, in this Satyagraha method, there are actually 4 basic rules or 4 basic methodologies. One is called non-cooperation. Second is called civil disobedience. Third is called self-suffering of the Satyagrahi, self-suffering and self-sacrifice. And third is fasting. And there is resistance through non-engagement. Now, can I discuss non-cooperation, civil disobedience? Okay. Because technically, you all do this, we the land of Gandhi, we all do civil disobedience and non-cooperation every day, every year, every moment of your life, and you don't know it. It's called passive resistance. I'll tell you a very simple point. For passive resistance means, see, resistance is to resist something. Active resistance is what, for example, the extremists are doing. Confrontational. Passive resistance is non-confrontational resistance. I will tell you how. I'll tell you what. Very simple. You see, you actually do it, you don't know it. Your parent, you are sitting on the couch watching something. Your parents ask for water. What do? You listen to it, but you ignore it. This is called passive resistance. I am resisting by not engaging. I have become deaf. I will not listen to you. This is called passive resistance. That I am resisting, but I am not actively doing it by showing it. So I'll give you another example, very simple. In colleges, you do it, and I've seen it 6 years in Delhi University. I ask you to give an assignment on a specific date. You will not give it to me on that date, but some other date which suits you, but you will not say anything. Again, passive resistance. You do what you want to do. I will do what I want to do. So it's not that you're coming to me and saying, sir, change the date. No. You simply say, I will give it when I want to. So, passive resistance. So, passive resistance is resistance through non-engagement. It is one of the most annoying type of resistance. Very annoying type of resistance, which is that I will resist, but I'm not going to engage with you. So, I ask you to do something, you will do it when you want to do it. And basically, that is resistance via non-engagement. But there are 2 aspects to resistance to non-engagement, which is non-cooperation and civil disobedience. Are you understanding the concept of passive resistance? Passivity means you will not engage. You will not engage with me, but you will resist through non-engagement. You didn't hear me only. You will do what you want to do, but you will not engage with the personality. Now, what is non-cooperation? What is non-cooperation? Non-cooperation is basically I will not follow your rules. I will not cooperate with you only. So I'll give you a very simple example. Non-cooperation. In India, everybody has to wear a helmet when they are riding a bike. Everybody has to wear a helmet. Yes. But you would have seen certain people having a helmet, but in their hand. That is called non-cooperation. It is resisting the rule by not cooperating only. I have the helmet, but I will not wear it. Wearing the mask under your nose was non-cooperation. I have the mask, but I will not cooperate with you. I will not cooperate with you itself. That is the first phase of any, in Satyagraha, non-cooperation is always the first phase, which you do, which is that your parents, you want to go to a trip, you want to go somewhere, for example, to Goa. Your parents will, go and ask your parents that, can I go to Goa? They say no. So your initial response is going to be, you will start to non-cooperate. The phone is ringing, you will not pick it up. They are struggling with something in sending something on WhatsApp, you will not help. You will basically not cooperate with them. You are resisting by non-engagement. It's not that you are actually saying something to your parents, you are just not cooperating. Ghanti baja, I'm not going. The bell rang, I'm not going. I don't exist in this house. I will not cooperate with you. So non-cooperation is basically what Gandhi did in the Registration Act. And in Registration Act, the concept was very simple. Gandhi's understanding was that we will keep the paper with us. We will keep the paper with us. But when the police will ask us that, do you have the registration paper with you? You say, no, I don't. So the police will arrest you. They will take you to the what we call as the police station. And at the police station, when they start to write the complaint, you take it out and keep it in front of them. Now you see how annoying it is. The police had to take you, they take you to the police station. And then when they say, do you have the Registration Act? Yes, I have it. I did not cooperate with the British. I did not cooperate with the British at that moment. And that is how I technically annoyed that power. It's about annoyance. So non-cooperation movement is, we will not cooperate with any of the laws you have brought in for us. We will not cooperate only. Are you getting my point? Basic point of the matter is, you all do it, but you don't know it. Not giving it on the date. That is the concept. That is the concept. Now, for example, non-cooperation doesn't work or has exhausted its purpose. So the second way you do Satyagraha is civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is actively breaking laws to get attention and to defy authority. Simplest example of civil disobedience is mass bunking. I said I'm going to take an examination tomorrow. And what happens is, everybody knows that the examination is tomorrow. Nobody turns up. So you passively send a message to us that we don't care if you take the exam on that day or not. We all will not turn up. So we will actively break the law. Which is civil disobedience. Not big laws. Obviously, you don't start to murder somebody. But laws which are annoying laws. Now, civil disobedience is something which again you do. You don't know, you do it. And civil disobedience is that concept. When you wanted to go to Goa, Your non-cooperation did not affect your parents. Simple point is, they asked you to come back at 8 in the night. You come back at 8:15. Active resistance, or rather passive resistance, through breaking a law which is not major, but technically you are trying to send a message. They say that the utensil should go into a certain place, not keep it only. Again, civil disobedience. Disobedience via breaking a law. So you are not, it's not that you go and slap your father. That is breaking a major law. It's about breaking small laws which actually have no real consequence generally. But it's about sending a message. But so you get my point. Do you understand the concept of non-cooperation and civil disobedience? Understood? Perfect. Now listen to me. The other aspect of Satyagraha is fasting. And the worst aspect about fasting is it is annoying. It's annoying. The simple point, the difference between non-cooperation and civil disobedience is, in non-cooperation, you don't break the law. You don't follow the law, but you actively break the law in civil disobedience. Non-cooperation is that I will not pay rent. So that is non-cooperation. I will not cooperate with your rules, but I will not break it in the end. But civil disobedience is about breaking laws to send a message. Now comes fasting. When we talk about fasting, it is one of the most annoying types of Satyagraha. I ask you that you give me an assignment tomorrow. And you say, sir, I will fast unto death. And if you don't change it for day after tomorrow, I will kill myself. Now imagine the frustration I would have, or you would have. Imagine that I'll not eat only. And Gandhi used to do it quite a lot. You're not going to change it? Okay, I will kill myself. I will literally not eat. But the basic point of the matter is, the Britishers will not care initially, but once Gandhi comes to India and Gandhi dies doing fasting, every Britisher will be put up on a stick and burnt. Gandhi's aura, I will tell you, Gandhi's aura, therefore, was linked to a certain power. And fasting in that sense can basically be linked to this concept. So fasting in that sense has a major important concept within it, which is, I am actively going to make you submit to me. But what is important in all of this, is that though an individual can do it, the timing and the coverage matters. The timing and coverage matters. What do I mean by that? See, if you will every time fast, no one will care. So Gandhi did not fast on everything. You fast at the right moment, you will get the right concept. And basically, if I ask you to mass bunk and then 10 people turn up, then it's technically going to undercut the whole concept itself. Simple point is that non-cooperation, civil disobedience, fasting, all of this needs to happen at a scale which is much bigger than the individual. At the individual level. So simple point, self-suffering is something which is expected from a Satyagrahi. The Satyagrahi trains himself. And this training is very, very important, because he has to suffer multiple times, because there could be that you do civil disobedience but multiple times. So you would have to go to the jail, then come back again, then go to the jail, then come back again, go to the jail, come back again. So basically, you need to have this willpower to resist constantly. So Satyagraha generally are these following features, and these all become, and you will see in India, he will take out each one of them and show to the people how they work. Clear? Satyagraha clear? Then I go to the South Africa and we discuss how it was used in the first or the 4 acts itself. Okay. Simple point. Resistance through non-engagement is called passive resistance. Please understand this very, very clearly. If you engage, then you are not a Satyagrahi. You are not a Satyagrahi. You have to not engage with the oppressor. It is about wearing down the oppressor literally via your disobedience and your non-cooperation. Okay, now let's talk about these acts. The first is the Registration Act. And I'm writing them down and I'm giving you an acronym, remember it. The first is called Registration Act. The second is called Immigration Act. The third is called Poll Tax. And the fourth is called Marriage Act. Please remember it. Mains area, very important generally. MPR. Rest in peace, Mahatma Gandhi. RIPM. This is in chronological order. If they ask you to put it in chronological order, you put it in chronological order. But RIPM, please remember, is the code which will help you in learning it for the prelims examination. So passive resistance through non-engagement, passive resistance and non-engagement resistance is the same thing. Self-suffering is the power to restrict no, it's not about restricting civil disobedience. Civil disobedience will make you suffer, and you have to suffer that over multiple times. So self-suffering. Okay. All of this is happening in South Africa. All of it is in South Africa. Registration Act, Immigration Act, Poll Tax, and Marriage Act. Now, can we discuss this? So, RIP, rest in peace, marriage, or rest in peace, Mahatma, whatever works for you. Now, I'll give you the concepts also. Registration Act was the concept of having to carry the fingerprint and photo identification card at all times. Immigration Act was that Indians cannot move in certain parts or cross over to provinces without permission. So in order to go from one place to the other, for example, from A to B, you would need British permission. You would need British permission. And poll tax is the concept within South Africa, obviously, within South Africa. The most brutal out of all of them was the Poll Tax and Marriage Act. And I'll just give this to you, and then we'll take a break and come back and discuss how Gandhi talked about it or how he tackled it. Poll tax was that if you are a free Indian, which is you have served your indenture Then, in order to keep that status, you need to pay £3 a month to the British. And this is again very brutal, which is that you have now served your term. You have served your 5-year period. You have become a free Indian. But if you want to be a free Indian and you want to be seen as a free Indian, which is non-indentured Indian, you pay them £3 a month in order to keep that status, which is technically injustice. Because £3 is a very big amount, and that amount needs to be paid. For example, imagine to be citizen of India, we had to pay a tax for indefinite time. The basic point of the matter is that I would have to pay a tax every month to be recognized as an Indian. So, Registration Act is about Indians carrying this ID card. Immigration Act is about the Indians cannot move around in South Africa without permission. And poll tax is that if you have already become free, you pay this tax. You pay this tax. And the last of this, or the worst of it, was any marriage not done in Christian rituals and not registered with the registrar of marriages is an illegal marriage. Basically, it makes Indian marriages, all the religions, be it Hindu, Muslim, Parsi, or Sikh, all the marriages are technically invalidated. All of them are invalidated. Because if it is not done, Jain, Buddhist, any marriage, if it is not done under Christian rituals and if not done with the registrar of marriages or not registered with the registrar of marriages, basically it is null and void, making every husband wife in South Africa and basically not married, and every child illegitimate child. So these 4 acts are the 4 acts in which Gandhi is going to apply his Satyagraha method. But as of right now, what you need to do is have a larger picture here. Registration Act, you have to have your ID card with you always. Immigration Act, you cannot move freely. Poll tax, if you have already paid, if you've already got your, or you paid off your contract, you need to keep that status. You give us £3 a month. And any marriage which is not Christian automatically gets invalidated. Basic point is Hindu marriages, Muslim marriages, Parsi or Sikh, did none happen within the concept of the church. So therefore, if the marriage is not in the church, it is invalid. Remember, it is invalid. And the simple point is Gandhi will have success. He will be able to make all of these 4 go back. The British will have to take it back. But that I will discuss with you when we come back. Basic formative influence, the concept of Satyagraha, and these 4 acts. Are these 3 things clear? Before Registration Act, he was a moderate. These acts are what is going to push him to Satyagraha. Okay. Except poll tax, nothing earns British the money. But it was about sending a message. It was about discrimination. It's about making the Indians realize what is their place in the empire. That is the basic point. Poll tax, nothing. that if I become an indenture, I work for free for 5 years. Once I become a free Indian, I'm free to work anywhere. But I have a status. My registration card will say free Indian. But if you want that free Indian tag, you pay for it. That was not there beforehand. Dates are not needed. Rahul, all dates are between 1906 and 1915. 6, 8, 9, and 10. But I'm not putting that. That does not really matter. Are we all on the same page with regards to this? We can take a break now. If it is registered with the registrar office, then it is legal, but he will not register it because he will ask for where was it done, what was the concept. Done? Perfect. So it is what? 6:33. We come back at 6:40. After comes the Registration Act in 1906, which is in turn going to trigger the way Gandhi is going to transform his politics totally. And the point of the matter is Gandhi will use each of these methods in each of these moments, but he will also develop a very important strategy for protest here in South Africa only. So, as I said, Gandhi's methodology in India was nothing but he's already done the dress rehearsal. All of the rehearsal is already done in South Africa. And when he lands in India, he knows what is going to work and what is not going to work. So, when the Registration Act comes through, so I'll just give you the story. Can we just discuss the story behind all of this? We'll read it out because I have to discuss a very important methodology of Gandhi, which is very, very important for you in the larger context. Okay. So when the Registration Act comes through, of our RIPM, Gandhi goes for what we call as Registration Act. Gandhi goes for non-cooperation. And the basic point of the matter was, he said that no Indian will carry it. And if you are carrying it, you don't give it to the police personnel. And you only give it to the personnel when you've reached the police station. And in the Registration Act, scores of Indians, will not cooperate with the British police in South Africa. And there will also be a moment in which a concept of what we call jail bharo, which is fill the jails, is also developed by Gandhi, which is that if one person is arrested, okay. 10 is arrested, still okay. 1,000 is arrested, 5,000 arrested. Then doesn't it create pressure on the policing machinery? So basically, jail bharo is about overwhelming the machinery itself. And that is going to come very soon under immigration. But the basic point of the matter is, he was now starting to develop that basically is not trying to break the law, is that to defy it or burn the registration card itself. Every Indian did have that registration card, but it was not cooperating by carrying it. This is the difference between it not being a concept of civil disobedience and non-cooperation. Civil disobedience would have been to burn all registration cards. That would be breaking the law. But it's about having it and not giving it to the police. Whilst the non-cooperation about Registration Act was going on itself, the next act which became very important is called the immigration. Now, immigration law said that the Indians cannot travel from one area to the other without taking police permission. And what Gandhi will do is, here he will do civil disobedience. Because along with thousands of Satyagrahis, he is going to go from Natal to Transvaal. And from Natal to Transvaal, when they will cross over to Transvaal without permission, they all will be arrested, and he will stage this protest multiple times. Via using the concept of jail bharo. He will say that, okay, we are not allowed to go to Transvaal, which is the next province itself where he's operating from his Natal. They will simply go, okay, we will cross over the borders. Every time they crossed over the border, the police used to arrest. Now there are thousands of Indians who are getting arrested. The basic point is annoy and make this law redundant. But whilst these two struggles were going on, non-cooperation with regards to Registration Act and immigration law, basically the Satyagrahi was now self-suffering, was suffering the wrath of the British, but was ready to do it. They will introduce the worst of all of them, which is poll tax. Poll tax being the concept of £3 to be a free Indian. Now, in the poll tax, they will again have a mixture of non-cooperation and civil disobedience, which is some people will not pay, some people will burn their registration cards, which told them that they were free Indians. But by the time you come to poll tax, Gandhi has been pushing the people for 3 years back to back. And now he learns a very important concept about mass movement. Can we discuss that important concept? That he has seen that people are ready to sacrifice. People are ready to sacrifice. They're ready to go on and on and on. But now he can see what is called a fatigue or overheating of a movement. Which is called overheating of a movement. Which is that people were going in and out from jail day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. And Gandhi will now have to understand that people can only struggle and they can only sacrifice till a point. And very famously, once the poll tax will start to overheat the whole movement, Gandhi will take a little bit of a draw, which is called a truce, and I'll tell you the concept. And he will, one of his friends, a German friend, Klenbach, is going to give him what is called Tolstoy farm. He will establish a small farmhouse for the Satyagrahis. And herein comes his concept of ashrams. So basically, he established an ashram called the Tolstoy farm, in which the Satyagrahis could come and rest and get the attention they needed. But why poll tax is important? Because now Gandhi will develop a methodology which is very famously called struggle, truce, struggle. Basically, very important for your mains examination. This is the core Gandhian ideology, which is struggle. But once the people start to lose faith or start to overheat, the movement starts to overheat, take a truce. Truce means take a draw, retreat. Then struggle and then truce. Struggle, truce, struggle. And ironically, if you will look at the whole national movement, it is actually like this only. Struggle, Rowlatt Act, truce, Jallianwala Bagh, struggle, non-cooperation, truce, Chauri Chaura, struggle, CDM, truce, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, and thereafter, I'll tell you 1940 onwards, he did not have control only, which is quit India. This is struggle, this is truce, struggle, truce, struggle, truce. And this concept is called the cooling off period. That you allow the people to rejuvenate so that they can sacrifice more. But Gandhi, you will see, had through the struggle, taught people something which technically was extremely significant for Indian history. But it is here in South Africa that he actually develops this methodology also. That you always need to take a truce. You only need to take a movement of taking the pedal off the accelerator. You accelerate, then you deaccelerate a little bit, then again accelerate, then deaccelerate. The simple point is, this is one of the most core ideologies along with Satyagraha, which Gandhi followed. Struggle to struggle, clear, everyone? Okay, perfect. Now, once the truce is taken, where Gandhi will push off the pressure a little bit, the struggle movement will come again via the Marriages Act. And this act was seen, yes, Abhinav. This act was seen as a major, in a way, disrespect to the women of India, specifically all communities, the Hindu women, Muslim women, all Indian marriages were invalidated. And this will be used by Gandhi to go for his next level movement, which is not civil disobedience, not non-cooperation, but to go to civil disobedience straight. And in this, protests, marches, burning of certificates, jail bharo, this law was seen as something which technically impacted every Indian. The Marriage Act will make this movement so big that finally General Smut, who's the Viceroy of South Africa, he will agree to meet Gandhi along with Lord Harding and the Secretary of State. And in 1915, giving all credit to Gandhi's non-cooperation, civil disobedience, and his agitation against Marriage Act, same Harding. The British will take all these acts back. And this was something which we had never ever seen. See, we don't have to go into too much nitty-gritty here. I've told you the basic details about all four of them. These four acts represent Gandhi's playing ground or practice ground. From non-cooperation to civil disobedience, to struggle to again civil disobedience, Gandhi was successful in making the British technically, in a way, not repeal, but take back all of these acts. Now, try to understand the implication of this. It is extremely significant. Because for the first time, the British took something back. And the irony of the story is, everything which Gandhi was doing was being covered by the Indian press in India very closely. So when Gandhi chooses to now move on from South Africa because his work was done, when he lands in India, he's not an unknown personality. He is that one Indian who had single-handedly changed the course of Indians in South Africa. So I'm going to talk about that part of the story soon. Can we just read all of this through the PPT and close it? And I want to give you a question so that you understand what type of question can come from this area. Perfect. Great. So the Satyagraha phase is the second phase of the struggle in South Africa. Began in 1906. Only 4 acts were Indian. We don't have to care about the blacks right now. We have our own problems. We are under British domination right now. So, began in 1906, was characterized by a new method called passive resistance, or Gandhi, what he called it, Satyagraha. It was the first time that the government enacted a major legislature which made it compulsory for Indians to take out certificates of registrations which held their fingerprints. And it was essential to carry on yourself at all times. Now, against this, please remember one thing. Do you need to remember all of this? Tell me. Do you need to remember all of this? No. I'm just telling you the story. What I will show you what type of question comes. The implications matter, not the nitty gritty. At a huge public meeting held on 11th September 1906 in the Empire Theatre in Johannesburg, Indian resolves that if they would refuse to submit to this law and face the consequences. The government remained adamant, so did the Indians, and Gandhi formed his Passive Resistance Association to conduct the campaign. However, if this fire was not enough, the government will bring in a new legislation which is called the Immigration Act, which was going to now restrict the immigration of Indians, and this would widen the movement itself. So in 1908, a number of prominent Indian leaders, or the what are called the Natal Congress leaders, will cross the frontier to Transvaal to defy the new immigration laws and will get arrested. The more committed Satyagrahis continued to go in and out of jail, but majority was showing signs of fatigue. At this point, the truce concept is coming through and the poll tax is coming in the background. Gandhi set up the Tolstoy farm, made possible through the generosity of his French architect, by German architect friend Klenbach, and the house was now where families of the Satyagrahis could stay and sustain themselves. Therein comes the concept of ashrams. Tolstoy farm was the precursor to the Gandhian ashrams itself, which is going to become an important epicenter of the national movement in India. If that was not enough, the campaign against poll tax also started, which is £3 tax was imposed on all ex-indentured Indians. The inclusion of the demand for the abolition of poll tax, which was too much for a poor ex-indentured Indian who could only earn 10 shillings a month, close to 10 cents a month. And this will widen the movement itself. And thereafter, the fuel to fire will be added when the Supreme Court of South Africa is going to invalidate all marriages not conducted according to Christian rites and registered with the Registrar of Marriages. By implication, Hindu, Muslim, Parsi, or any other Sikh, all marriages were illegal and the child were illegitimate. The Indians treated this judgment as an insult to the honor of their women, and women were drawn into this movement in very big numbers. Gandhi thereafter decided to basically take this moment and make the struggle even bigger and channel the resistance against the Marriage Act. Because of this ongoing struggle from 1906 itself, eventually the Gandhi was brought into the negotiation table with Lord Harding, C.F. Andrews, and General Smart, and basically they reached an agreement with South African government. In a major moment, the poll tax, the registration certificate, the Marriage Act itself, all were taken back, and now Gandhi became the hero of South Africa. Before we go to India, the concept of Satyagraha very simple. Non-violence, truthfulness is something which he will add to this whole concept, which I'm going to discuss with you when it comes to India. Because in India, non-violence was something which was very, very important. Because in South Africa, it may not be very, very relevant in the larger context, but non-violence, ahimsa, will become central to Satyagraha concept once he lands in India. So that concept I'm going to develop with you. This is the Supreme Court, which is the South African Supreme Court. It's a way of life, it's an expression, it's a weapon. It is like the passive resistance of the extremists who technically do it via active engagement. So you can call it the active resistance of the extremists, but now passively. Conditions for resistance: people should be united. Obviously, if you're not united, it makes no sense. Must be ready to experience hardship, and it should be done on proper occasion. Remember, Satyagraha only works if it is done not regularly. It has to be done at the right moment. Satya ka agrah, firm grasping truth, you push for the truth. Origin in a speech in Johannesburg. Initially, he used the word passive resistance. Later, it will be Satyagraha. So, see, the extremists are doing active resistance and Gandhi is also doing resistance, but the difference is active and passive. But the point which this slide is trying to make basically is that extremists also do passive resistance, but they do it by actively engaging with the British. He is doing passive resistance by non-engagement. Understand this, that basically non-engagement is the most important word here. You don't engage, and that is why in India, non-violence is going to become the new feature of Satyagraha. The new feature of Satyagraha. Simple point. For anybody who is curious, I have also put in this basic timeline, though you don't have to learn it. This is do not learn. For anybody who is curious, I have added this for your general knowledge, the whole timeline of Gandhi in South Africa. So before I go to bring Gandhi back to India, can we all agree that we understand the basic concept of why South Africa is important? I will also reiterate it. See, if you look at it, why is South Africa so important? Because first is that his moderate phase was gone. Second is he developed his methodology. Third is that he had proven himself. And this is a very important point I'm going to discuss. So even before landing in India, Gandhi had shown Satyagraha works, and now with his non-violence, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, and fasting. This is the weapons which Gandhi has. He will land in India. Now, can I give you a question to understand? See, engagement, non-engagement concept is very simple. That I have to resist. I can confront you. If I confront you, basically I'm doing active resistance by engagement, or passive resistance via engagement. But the master stroke here is do not engage with the person. You resist by ignoring, and that is even more problematic. Okay. Now, Gandhi's South African experience was pivotal to his methodology and techniques in Indian nationalism. Comment. Get my point? Can you answer this question now? Pivotal means that it is central. He was not going to, he reached there as a job seeker, not as a person who was going to get justice for anybody. But it was his inner understanding that he technically went beyond, above and beyond what he had to do. Perfect. Can we now close South Africa and come back to India? Okay. Now, Gandhi chooses to come back to India. You want word limit? Now he chooses to come back to India. Gandhi already has his weapons. He has 4 guns. He has literally non-cooperation, civil disobedience, fasting, and non-violence. And Gandhi technically does not have to prove anything to anyone. The South African success was very well documented, very well documented. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, though will die 1 year after Gandhi will come through, but had informed Gandhi about the politics in India. And Gandhi has a certain aura. Gandhi has a certain aura. But what Gandhi is more than just a master strategist. He's a very good PR personality. He understands public relations very well. So now listen to me, throughout, whatever discussion we had, prelims question will be maximum these 4 acts. You will be asked to either arrange them in chronological order or what are the acts which mattered, but it's a main specific area. Now, though throughout the South African experience, Gandhi wore shirt, pant or suits, as soon as he comes to India, he drops that. And his understanding is, I will not wear or look like a Britisher. Now you see how he's changing the perception. Which is that he's technically creating the context in which he has now created a certain aura and he's now removing. Understand? He's removing the aura which he has in South Africa as a British Indian, and he now wants to connect with the people. In India, people did not have literally clothes to wear, so he's now trying to change his aura. Now, when Gandhi lands in India, Indian nationalism had multiple forms. It is Home Rule League, the Indian National Congress, we have basically the extremists, we have the moderate way, we have revolutionary activities. Indian nationalism had blossomed into different aspects. Now, when Gandhi lands in India, he has all these options. But what he does is, he says, I will not be part of any of these organizations. Rather, I want to travel India and see the ground reality and grassroots reality. This is a very important point you need to understand, that Gandhi straight away chooses to not be associated with anyone. He wanted to create his own strategy, his own aura. But now Gandhi will do a masterstroke. What he will do is, the way he will travel India is the railways. He will use the most British symbol to now travel India to understand India and Indian concept itself. So he's proven himself in South Africa. He's already said what is his South African experience. He does not have to say anything to anybody. But now there is a man for a person who has come from South Africa. And this man will now start to travel India. So you see how he's using a certain type of strategy, which is, don't associate yourself with anybody who is already there. You create your own understanding. But herein comes a very interesting aspect, which is called Gandhi Darshan. Can I discuss the concept of Gandhi Darshan or Darshan? See, when railway matters because railway represents the British in India. So using the railways to go around. So he's technically using that moment of using the railway as the concept of uniting India, but he's now literally uniting India. Now, you'll not find Gandhi Darshan in any standard book. It's based on a very interesting article by a person called Shahid Amin. And Gandhi Darshan is the concept of aura of Gandhi. And you asked me this question, one of you asked me this question initially, that what is this concept of Mahatma? What is the concept of Mahatma? And herein comes in Gandhi's understanding of religion. Gandhi knew that what matters to the people in India above all is religion. So when Gandhi comes to India, he's this Gandhi, a man who had defeated the British. But when he starts to travel India, people now start to project divinity to Gandhi. And the concept of Gandhi Baba will emerge. Gandhi Baba or Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi. Now, I'll give you a very simple instance, and this is very well documented history, that people used to say that there was a peasant. There was a peasant, and because he wanted to travel India, he's going to get connected to the grassroots level reality. There was a peasant. You see, there was a peasant. His cow fell ill. His cow fell ill. So what he started to now say was that I went to the station, I saw Gandhi, and when I came back, my cow was fine. And this is the concept of Gandhi Darshan. The Mahatma term will be given by Rabindranath Tagore. That's a separate issue altogether. But now people are pushing their own understanding of nationalism, their own problems on Gandhi, and the concept of Gandhi Darshan. That my landlord was a very bad landlord. I went to see Gandhi at the station. When I came back, my landlord's leg was broken. This is a mysticism, a type of aura which Gandhi is able to create around him, that people now start to project things which he's not connected to also. That my officer who used to trouble me quite a lot, I had Gandhi Darshan. That मैंने Gandhi Baba को देखा, I saw Gandhi Baba and everything was perfect. My concept of religion is now dictating how I perceive Gandhi. He was that one man who had defeated the British. So people thought that he has that power to defeat the British in India also. This is why Gandhi did not want to get associated. People used to throng. Lakhs of people used to come to the station to just get one glimpse of Gandhi. And Gandhi was very clear what he wanted to do, which is to not get associated with anybody. He was using his basic understanding to now create an aura around him that Gandhi now matters, instantly matters. Gandhi instantly matters. And there are multiple histories in which we have seen that people have documented that I had a fever, I went and saw Gandhi, fever gone. My landlord was bad, he was killed. My officer was bad, he was transferred. All because I got the darshan of Gandhi. But Gandhi was also very clear. Understand this. Gandhi was also very clear what he wanted to do. Did Gandhi wear a suit or a shirt pant when he was traveling? No, he knew that his aura matters. So he started to look like a Baba. So he is a very good person in projecting. He's a very good person in public relations. He knows what he has to do. So he starts to look like a Baba, Gandhi Baba. And what happens is, via Gandhi, even the peasant gets connected to Indian politics. Because maybe the peasant does not recognize Gopal Krishna Gokhale or Firoz Shah Mehta. Peasants recognize Gandhi. That this is the Baba who's come from South Africa. He is that Baba who's come from South Africa. He will get us independence. And that is why you will see Gandhi will choose the three movements he will get associated very, very categorically. I will tell you that also. But now you see how Gandhi extends this whole understanding of Gandhi Darshan and how he knows that it matters. Every meeting of Gandhi starts with one song. What is that song? What is that song? Anybody knows that song? It was Raghupati Raghav, Rajaram, and Vaishnav Ajanto Tene Kahiye. These are two very standard songs which was actually sung. Now, why did Gandhi use these songs? Because Gandhi wants to use bhajan as a wheel. As a wheel. Firstly, when people were asked, where are you going? And if the police asks you, where are you going? People don't say that we are going to Mahatma Gandhi's political protest. They said, we are going to go for bhajan. Bhajan is going to happen. Bhajan Kirtan will happen. But Gandhi uses that as a wheel. That the British thinks that this Baba is doing something. This is the master stroke of Gandhi. That he uses bhajan. And what is more important is, women got connected to the movement because of Gandhi. Why? Because if there's a rural woman, and if the man asks, where are you going? If she says, I'm going to a political protest, will that man let her go? No. But now she says, I'm only going to this bhajan kirtan of Gandhi Baba. That is why every meeting used to start vis-a-vis a song which was technically uniting people, but the concept of religion. He used religion as a pivot, as a pillar to thereafter use it to steer the people. So he is projecting a certain type of aura, but he is conscious of that aura. He is conscious of that aura. This is not the Gandhi people knew in South Africa. This is a new Gandhi who understands Indian politics. He knew he does not need to get associated with anybody, but he also needs to understand that his aura is the defeater of the British, and therefore he says the first thing he does is Sabarmati Ashram. Ashram is established. And who establishes an ashram? A Mahant, a Mahatma, or a Baba. Though Gandhi never calls himself this, what we see is that we see a whole plethora of literature which is produced throughout India, where peasants, workers, grassroots level personalities and people will start to perceive him in a certain way. Perceive him in a certain way. And Gandhi Darshan became in itself a phenomenon. And now you ask me this question, that if Gandhi will fast, why will the British care? This is why they will care. Because Gandhi matters. Gandhi matters because everybody knows Gandhi. Are we clear about this concept? He is not, because it is today very easy to criticize Gandhi. Very easy to criticize Gandhi. You will see it in newspapers. You will see it in a lot of different literature. People will say that he was using religion, this and that. Gandhi was a master strategist. He knew what he was doing. Gandhi, you like him, you don't like him, you criticize him, that whatever your own judgment of him, he single-handedly changed the national movement, and his involvement will make Indian national movement a mass movement. But the basic point of the matter is he using religion to discriminate? No, he's using religion as a wheel. It was all about creating a certain image. It's a certain image which he projects, which allows him to work within a certain framework, and that allows people to get connected. Gandhi knew that that Indian national movement cannot be limited to elites. He knew that only when everybody is going to get connected, he will be able to technically talk about Indian nationalism. Now you tell me one thing. Be it a peasant, be it a worker, be it a landlord, or be it a middle class Indian, what is that basic thread which connects them? What is that basic thread which connects them? Religion. Because that is the ubiquitous nature of Indian religious understanding. He can talk about certain things in certain religious understandings and people will understand it. But is Gandhi doing this and that? That is your distortion of Gandhi's view. Gandhi very well documented his understanding that it is not his religious understanding that he's projecting, it is his strategy of using religion to use it in the larger context of Indian nationalism as a binding agent. Clear, everyone? Can I move on to the next issue? Can I move on to the next issue? Which is the three movements which he gets connected to. The three movements which he gets connected to. So, see, Gandhi Darshan concept, I'm technically not expecting in the examination, not even mains. But I'm trying to make you realize the importance of Gandhi. Because there is a lot which happens today, lot of things which you will see even in the newspaper. Very easy to do that. But Gandhi is a product of his own context and is using a certain strategy. So basically, it's a way of arousing nationalism by using a tool which connects everybody. But Gandhi was not just about religion. His way of using bhajans, his way of using religion was to wheel it against and allowing women and people who could not get connected to the movement together. However, that does not mean that all about Gandhi's religion. That would be a very simplistic understanding of Gandhi. Very, very simplistic, very dangerous in that sense also. So it's not that the Muslims never ever looked up to Gandhi. The Muslims equally looked up to Gandhi, and the concept of Khilafat, how he was the president of the All India Khilafat Committee. Ali brothers were also very close to him. So he is a pan-Indian personality. He's that one personality who transcends religion, but he uses religion as a marker of mobilizing people. Can we all agree to this? You agree to disagree? That's your total prerogative. That is not my issue. Okay. Now Gandhi came to India. Gandhi came to India. What was that major thing which was becoming problem after 1909? Via Morley-Minto reforms, what was that major issue which had been created in Indian politics? Morley-Minto reforms. Separate electorates. Separate electorates. Very good. Now, I'll tell you how Gandhi is smart in this concept. He could have easily come and targeted separate electorates. He could have easily done that. He could have easily come to India, traveled it, and in 1916 say, I will target separate electorates. I believe that separate electorates is wrong. I will target it. But Gandhi did not do that. Gandhi did not do that. Can anybody tell me why? Why would Gandhi not choose separate electorates? Think about it. Not unity, not related to the masses, maybe. Muslims are important, okay, no issue. Religion is powerful, he is not a moderate. See, Gandhi knew that if he chooses separate electorates, nothing is going to happen. It's not about large understanding. Gandhi had come via success. He had won a match. He won a match. Why would he come to India and take up the issue which technically has no solution only? So Gandhi never chose an all India level issue till he knew that it was going to bear fruit. Basically, he chooses to not take separate electorates. He chooses to not take revolutionary activities. He chooses to not talk about Home Rule League. He chooses to not talk about any other thing. But rather he handpicks three major movements. And the concept was Gandhi needed to show that his method works in India. Now try to understand what I'm trying to argue here. If Gandhi does not get success, then how can he show to the people that Satyagraha works in India? The machine works in America, the machine works in South Africa, but you have to prove it. Now, if he takes a very systemic issue, major systemic issue, will the British listen to one man talking about separate electorates? You tell me. As of 1915. No. Rather, he chooses certain specific interventions in order to make sure that he is successful. So now, be it Champaran, be it Kheda, be it Ahmedabad, all have one thing in common. These are micro issues which had some solution. And therefore, Gandhi chose all these three. Champaran in 1917, in Kheda 1918, early 1918 March, and 1918 Ahmedabad, because all of these three had a solution. He chooses micro issues and not meta issues. Now, are you able to understand the larger context? Are you able to now look at Gandhi in a new perspective? That he is not a random person going around and looking for things. He picks and chooses everything in a certain context. The real pictures, yes, real pictures. He chooses them because he's a master strategist. Gandhi knew that basically we need to take up issues which can demonstrate to the people Satyagraha works. And I'll actually give you an ironical statement here. After these three, Satyagraha won't work only. You see, Rowlett, Jallianwala Bagh takes back but does not give any result. Non-cooperation ends with Chauri Chora. Again, concept of non-cooperation Satyagraha won't work, has to take the movement back. Civil disobedience, again, certain stress, he has to take back via Gandhi's impact. Because at an all India level, it won't work only. And that he knew. Because when you bring in larger issues, the British are much rigid to it. So the irony of this story is that only three are the success stories. Everywhere else, Gandhi was creating a certain foundation for Quit India or for 1940s politics. However, after this, it won't work only. But Gandhi was smart. He did not choose the wrong battle. Be it Rowlett, be it Khilafat or non-cooperation, or be it CDM, he knew. Salt law breaking, he was again a micro issue. But was he able to get independence in any of these three? Every time Gandhi said 1919 will get independence, 1922 will get independence, 1931 will get independence. Second phase of CDM was also launched but did not work. Simple point is there is a disillusionment which will also set in after Chauri Chora, which I will discuss with you. But I'm trying to tell you something here. Gandhi is a master strategist. He's using his aura very well and he's understanding the larger movement of India in a very clear-cut context. Now, if you understand this, I would talk about why non-violence and then talk about Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad. Yes? Now, Gandhi's major insistence in India was non-violence. That he will compromise on anything and everything, but he will not compromise on violence. And this is also very strategic. Because Gandhi knew one thing. We shoot one bullet, the British will shoot 1 lakh bullets. Simple point of the matter is, Gandhi knew that when it came to repression, there could be multiple Jallianwala Baghs. Which is that the British were much ruthless and much better at violence. So the only way India could get independence was through non-violence. Now again, no standard questions which will come. Then what about Quit India? We'll discuss that, because Quit India technically went out of hand itself. And Gandhi was arrested as soon as Quit India happened. The resolution, 8th August. The simple point of the matter is, Gandhi knew one thing for sure. Non-violence was the only way forward, because British armed resistance will not take India anywhere. And he had seen the horrors, and I will literally make you relive the horrors of Jallianwala Bagh tomorrow itself, and you will realize what the British could do, and how for them rule of law and nothing else really mattered. They will literally keep everything at stake and destroy anybody and everybody who's standing there. Again, many will criticize non-violence because it is easy to criticize Gandhi in 2023. If you were in his position, sitting in 1917, it would all make sense. But as I said, it's very easy to criticize Gandhi, but it is very hard to be Gandhi. That is the basic point. There was no one else like him. There was no one else which is going to be thereafter him. But the basic point is his contribution. You like it, you don't like it. The point is, you criticize him, you don't criticize him. He transformed Indian nationalism into what it really is and was at that point of time. So can we go to Champaran? I'm trying to give you a certain perspective about Gandhi. You need to understand it in the larger perspective. Can we now go to Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad and understand these issues, because there will be questions out of it. Okay. Perfect. Now let's talk about Champaran. So Gandhi, when he lands in India, he founded, the first thing which he did was basically he founded the Ahmedabad Sabarmati Ashram, 1915. Objective was to create religious community on traditional Hindu pattern. Again, an outward projection of his strategy. And stressed on simplicity of life, truthfulness, celibacy, encouraged manual labor, hand spinning, indigenous sources, products. So this is his Swadeshi. Now technically Sabarmati Ashram was never targeted by the British, because Gandhi never projected it as a political space. Please understand this point. Celibacy means not to marry. The basic point of the matter is he projected Sabarmati Ashram as a religious space. Therefore, he was able to operate from Sabarmati. And this is again a masterstroke of Gandhi, because it was not his political center. And therefore, he was able to meet a lot of Indian nationalists in Sabarmati Ashram without being called or technically being seditious in that way. Thereafter, his stand was very straightforward. The stand was very straightforward. And yes, Chaluvadis made a very, very important point also, very good, which is the British won't touch religion also. Very good. After 1857, they would literally not touch religion. And that is also what Gandhi is able to understand. 1857, according to them, was basically because of the social justice reform movement. So Gandhi understands that also. Very, very good understanding. Now, he lands on 9th January 1915. This date is very important. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is celebrated on 9th January for the same reason. Gandhi's coming back date. His efforts in South Africa were well known, not only by the educated, but by among the masses. He now decided to tour the next 1 year and see for himself the condition of the masses. He also decided to not take any position on any political matter for at least 1 year. And as for the political currents which were prevailing in India at that point of time, he was convinced about the limitations of the moderate politics and was also not in favor of the Home Rule League agitation, which was becoming popular at this point of time, because he believed that the within the British, no self-rule makes sense. Now, his most celebrated and most known three interventions: Champaran, Kheda, and Ahmedabad. So let's talk about Champaran. Let's talk about Champaran. Champaran, a very small rural sector in United Province itself, but had a major issue. And this issue is called the Teen Kathia system. Teen Kathia system. Teen Kathia system is linked to one crop which you already know, indigo. Indigo. Indigo, as we already know, is a very bad crop. It's a crop which takes away a lot of fertility. It's an exhaustive crop. It takes off the fertility, uses a lot of water, and year on year on year, it creates a lot of problems for the peasants, and we already know what the planters were doing. But what is more problematic in this story is that this is happening in 1917. By 1917, the synthetic dye of the Germans was already in the market, and indigo was a useless crop. There was no real demand for it, but the planters were still forcing under the Rayati concept, the Teen Kathia system on the Champaran peasants, which is basically, see, 1 bigha, which is 1 bigha of land, is a measurement of land till today. We use it, bigha, has total 20 kattha. So 20 katthas make 1 bigha. So the concept was that 3/20th of the land, Teen Kathia, which is 3 katthas out of that 1 bigha, had to be cultivated with indigo. And this had to be the best land which was available to the peasant. That is why the concept of Teen Kathia. 3/20th, 3 out of the 20 katthas which are there in the 1 bigha. Now, you already know that this is technically a debt trap. It's a proper debt trap. And simply, people or the peasants were under distress, lot of distress. So, Champaran, indigo cultivation under Teen Kathia, 1 bigha is 20 kattha, so 3/20th Teen Kathia was going to go under indigo. And the debt trap concept we already know that once they have gone into the Rayati under Teen Kathia, they will be given an advance, and now there's a whole cycle of debt which has been created. They are not able to pay. So you understand the setting, right? You understand the setting. Okay. Now this issue was becoming more and more vocal in this sector. It will be even taken up by the what is called United Province wing of the INC. But nothing really was happening. Now one person debt trap because of indigo growing. Indigo, you give 100 rupees advance. Next year, there will be less yield. So you will not be able to pay off your advance. Then next year, even less. The advance keeps on increasing. Rent you have to pay. Now, one person who was part of the local politics and the local wing of the INC in United Province, Raj Kumar Shukla, will now approach Gandhi. And he will say to Gandhi that please, you need to intervene in this issue. It is creating havoc in this sector. So now Gandhi understands the potentiality. It is only one district of Champaran or the Champaran sector itself, and it can be easily solved. So now Gandhi says, yes, I will take this issue. Yes, I will take this issue. And now Gandhi travels travels to Champaran. Now everybody knows who's Gandhi. And ironically, Gandhi was even accompanied by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant at this point of time. But he will find his two very important subcontractors, as they are called, or very important leaders who will get associated with him, the most important being Rajendra Prasad, in this whole story. And what is the interesting aspect is, all of our towering forefathers or the founding fathers are associated with these three movements. Basically, Rajendra Prasad, Mazlul Haq, all will join Gandhi in Champaran. Now, Gandhi, as soon as he is going to get off from the train at Champaran, the district magistrate will issue an order. Now, you'll see how Gandhi plays everything. J.B. Kriplani, yes. Now, Gandhi, what he does? He issues, the district magistrate issues the order. Gandhi and his associates are not allowed into the Champaran district, and that would in turn lead to some form of punishment or basically arrest. The ironic part is, except for Gandhi, even Annie Besant Tilak went back. But Gandhi said, okay, you want to arrest me? You arrest me. Against the order, he will go into the Champaran sector with Rajkumar Shukla and will get arrested. He'll get arrested. This is his civil disobedience. That you arrest me? Arrested. Now he will sit in the police station for some time. There's no charge only. What has he done? He's not done anything. So the district magistrate would have to leave him. And Gandhi, now against everybody, is literally shown to everybody, why do you care about the laws of the British? So he is very simply done civil disobedience as soon as he lands in Champaran. Now he will go and meet the peasantry. And what he will teach to the peasantry, and why basically Champaran is called Champaran, he will teach them what is called the no rent campaign, which is don't pay rent only. Don't pay rent. This is non-cooperation. And simple point is, he will tell to the peasantry, if one of you pay it, then it was not going to work. All of you don't pay. Let us see how many of these people they can arrest. And literally every peasant followed Gandhi. And now the peasantry can see it started to work. Because how many peasants will the magistrate technically jail? And what Gandhi did was that he showed to the peasantry resistance by not doing anything. See, if an extremist would say that you go and fight, a revolutionary would say that you have go and assassinate. Gandhi said what? Sit there, don't do anything. So just by not doing anything, non-engagement, you are resisting. And this is the master stroke of Gandhi, that he showed to the peasantry, don't pay rent. Let us see. Don't pay rent. Let us see if the planters, what can the planters actually do? What can the planters do? What can the planters do? Planters will initially send lathials. You don't do anything. You just don't pay rent to anybody and everybody. The whole village doesn't pay rent only. And once you do that, planters had no option. And what is going to happen is that against the Teen Katiya system, now the district magistrate will have to create a committee in which Gandhi represented the peasants. The planters were there and the government of India was there via the district magistrate. And see, Gandhi could have asked 100% compensation. That you have been illegally taking from Teen Katiya, these peasants have been exploited, you give them 100% compensation. Whatever rent you've taken, you give them back. But Gandhi is smart. Can the planter at that moment give 100% of all rent to the peasants back? Obviously no. So he says, no, don't have to pay everything. 25% you give them. The basic point was, it was not about the 25%. It was making the British pay back something to the peasant. This was never known in India. The British paying back. The peasant was in awe. British are coming and paying back money to me. And Champaran is an instant success. This message goes all across India that the Baba has succeeded. He has made the British pay to the peasant. To the peasant. Ultimate. Never seen in India. And this is why Gandhi chose Champaran. Because Champaran was easy. It is not the British who are in a contract with the peasantry. Under Rayati, the planter pays to the peasant. So it's a contract. So very simply, by just doing this, a Britisher had paid to the peasant. Unknown in Indian history till this point. And that is why he chooses Champaran. So can we discuss Champaran through the PPT? And I'll talk about the significance of all of them together. Okay. So, peasant discontent against the European planters since 1860s. Forceful production of indigo under Teen Kathia. They had to produce on 3 of the 20th part of the land, indigo. And the local middle and rich peasantry leaders were playing a lot of important role, but technically with no avail. Under this concept, 3 out of the 20th agreement will be cultivated under indigo. Synthetic dye had come through, and basically, though synthetic dye had destroyed the prices itself, still illegally taking money out of the peasantry. So there was no point actually in doing it. No point actually in doing it. So in 1915, this issue will be taken up by Bihar Provincial Conference, which will be an annual issue, which will then be taken up by INC, however, with no avail. Lucknow Congress member Rajkumar Shukla is going to approach Gandhi in 1916. In 1917, Gandhi will arrive with a band of lawyers, including Dr. Rajendra Prasad, to fight it out with the British. Ironically, these personalities all got associated with Gandhi in this movement itself. And from there, we get Rajendra Prasad, Narahari Parekh, J.B. Kriplani, three very important personalities in the larger movement. Mazhar Haq, also very important, the Unionist Party in Bengal. This is how Gandhi now started to recruit very important people he thought could do anything. Now, what does Gandhi do? When the authorities order him to leave, Gandhi defies order and preferred to face punishment. Gandhi was arrested and then later released by the magistrate. So this is your civil disobedience. Gandhi convinced the riots to adopt non-violence and passive resistance. It starts with the Dhokhara plantation, where they said that don't pay any rent, no rent campaign. Then the Belwa plantation refused to carry out the same thing by not doing the carting work, which is to take the crop from the land to the processing plant. Peasants soon realized that passive resistance was much, much more expedient and comparatively safer, because you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. We call them Gandhian leaders. That is why, yes. They were not doing anything. So therefore, the British can't do anything to them. Now, the passive resistance was a totally new concept which had been introduced by the British, by basically Gandhi in Champaran. Forced by this whole campaign, the government will appoint a committee, Indigo Commission, to go into the matter, and Gandhi was a member of it. Gandhi was able to convince to the authorities, to the British government, that the Teen Kathia system should be abolished and that the peasant should be paid for his illegal dues and extractions from him. And the compromise was 25% as a form of symbolic protest. These leaders will help him, and basically, as soon as 25% will be transferred, planters will as it is leave the Champaran sector. Get my point? No, Niti. The whole Teen Khatia system is abolished itself. The planters fled that area. Teen Khatia was abolished only. Okay. Now can we talk about Kheda? 1918. Okay. Kheda, we can go. Is everybody following me? Why these are very important moments? Why this method will be of instant success? And why Gandhi very simply showed to the peasant, you can also be part of this movement, not just have to give something, just have to follow the leader. The peasant had never been a part of the national movement. And now the peasant was technically a part of the larger movement, what is called as the Indian national movement. This is why, see, planters will get humiliated, so they will leave this sector. The basic point is Gandhi had succeeded. He made the planters pay also compensation 25%, and he was also able to make the Teen Khatia system be abolished. With no Teen Khatia and with compensation, British planters leave this whole sector itself. So Gandhi wins. Okay. Now in Kheda, it is again a peasant issue. But it's actually the government which was at fault here. So can we discuss Kheda? Come on, everybody. It's about providing confidence. It's about training. Gandhi was literally training the people of India in his method. He now showed to these people, see, Satyagraha works. That is the basic point. Okay. Now Kheda is again a peasant issue, but it is here the problem is the government. Now what happens is that in 1918, there's a major drought in this sector, Gujarat sector. And under what is called the revenue code, under the revenue code of the government of India, there's a rule that if the yield, or rather I'll say production, if the produce of the peasant falls below 1/4 of previous year, then the peasant can get a remission on rent or revenue to be paid to the government. What does remission mean? Remission means that he would have to pay a reduced revenue, or maybe even less than that, no revenue. So this is a British concept. It's a British concept that under the revenue code, if it is falling under, understand this, there's a drought, and the revenue code says that if the produce falls under, for example, you produced 400 kgs last year and you are not able to produce even 100 or 90 kgs is produced, you are under 1/4 of that produce. So now you are entitled for a remission, a concession, a remission from the government of India, that you have to pay reduced rent. Reduced rent. The basic point, if farmers' yield falls below 1/4 of the produce, he is entitled for remission. There's a drought which happens in 1918, and there is a major rise in agricultural wages because the bubonic plague will also start to spread. And basic point is cost of labor went up because the plague, which is a disease which happens because of rats, will kill a lot of people in this sector. The basic point of the matter is that the government should have applied the revenue code. It has been produced by the government itself. Remission means reduction. If I had to pay, as I said, 1,000 rupees as revenue, and the concept was that I always produce 400 kgs, but somehow I only produce 90 kgs, under the rule, I don't have to pay 1,000 rupees. I would have to pay a reduced revenue as per my yield. Are you getting the point? That it's a concept of remission. It's a concept of remission. That you, and this is not any arbitrary concept. The British itself have this concept. Simple point, if it goes below than 1/4, then you will get a concession. Reduced revenue needs to be there. It's a good thing. However, when it comes to Kheda in 1918, the British weren't ready to apply it. It's an exemption. Simple point, if you are not able to produce to a certain revenue point, you would have to pay a reduced revenue. It's a standard concept. 400 kgs, 1,000. If you are not able to produce 400 kgs but only 90 kgs, 1/4 of that 400 kgs, then you will pay, for example, 100 rupees. Don't have to pay that 1,000 rupees. It's a concession, reduced revenue if there is a reduced concept of produce. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Who's saying it's a bad thing? But the problem is, British are not ready to apply it. This is the bad problem. This is the problem here. Basically, the British were not ready to apply. The British, are we all on the same page? British were not ready to apply the revenue code. And now the British started to confiscate the land of defaulters, and they were trying to extort money out of the peasant. Now again, Gandhi will get involved. Gandhi here will simply say, time tested, no rent campaign. He said, let the British confiscate everybody's land. Don't pay anything to the British. Let them confiscate everything. Let them confiscate whole Kheda only. Simple point. No rent campaign. Don't pay rent. Now, as soon as Gandhi gets involved, the press get involved, this act of the district magistrate and the district officers will get highlighted. And once Gandhi is involved, no rent campaign will start. Pressure will be building up. The government cannot do anything. It cannot confiscate everybody's property. And Gandhi will succeed. The revenue code will be applied. And everybody's land will be given back. Simple concept. Simple. No rent campaign will be started by local leaders, Mohanlal Pandya and Shankarlal Parikh. Gujarat Sabha requested Gandhi to join. Gandhi will be happy to join. He will start a Satyagraha and ask the farmers not to pay only. He said, do not pay any taxes. Do not pay any taxes. The peasants were happy. Don't have to pay taxes only. And simple point is, here Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Ravi Shankar Vyas will get involved at the grassroots level movement. Another Gandhian leader gets involved. Peasants refused to submit their lands even when they were getting confiscated. Confiscated properties, if anybody was buying it, were ostracized. Basically, if I was buying a confiscated property, people would you go and literally spit on that person. That you are that person who is buying confiscated property of a person who has been done injustice to. So now, even if the government confiscates, it cannot sell because nobody was ready to buy because it was peasant property. So once all of this data, or what we call as all of this limelight, will fall, in April of 1918, the government came out with concessions. Increased taxes were suspended. Confiscated land will be given back. Gandhi will sit in Sabarmati and say, call of the movement, we've achieved what we want to do. Understand Kheda now? Everyone? Kheda? Perfect. Great. So two major successes of Gandhi in front of everybody. Now Gandhi is showing to the world that I can start a movement, my method works, and I've called up the movement when we got what we wanted. Now he moves to workers. Can we talk about workers and Ahmedabad? When we talk about Ahmedabad, he had already taken two peasants' issues. And Ahmedabad is that sector which is a little bit problematic when it comes to basically peasants, workers rather, because the larger center of industrial production was Surat rather than Ahmedabad, and the bubonic plague will start to spread in this whole area, the Gujarat sector itself. And workers started to run away from Ahmedabad towards maybe a city which was not affected, or just did not want to be in a smaller city with smaller industries. So Ahmedabad had a very standard scheme that all the mill owners used to give the peasant over above their wage what is called the plague bonus. The plague bonus, it is close to 50% of the wage, and this was to attract the peasantry to Ahmedabad. And the basic point is, they said, don't go, you will get a bigger wage here. Don't go to Surat, don't go to some other city, you stay here. And between 1915 and 1918, they become very comfortable. The workers become very comfortable with this concept that we will get a plague bonus, and maybe if you get a salary of, for example, 10 rupees in Surat, you would get 15 in Ahmedabad. Now the problem is that this bonus is a plague bonus, and majority of mill owners in Ahmedabad were actually Indians. Now the plague was gone in 1918. Late 1918, plague was gone from Ahmedabad. So this bonus was going to get discontinued. But the worker has become very comfortable with this bonus. So as soon as the mill owners propose that we will remove this plague bonus, the workers go on a strike. And this is called the mill strikes of Ahmedabad. Basically, workers will say, we will not work only. We want our plague bonus. And the concept was, because the First World War is happening in the background, and there is a lot of inflation because of that, and prices have went up. They were saying that we can't survive with 10 rupees. We need to get that 5 rupees extra as plague bonus. So now there's a deadlock. Now there's a deadlock. There's a deadlock between mill owners versus the workers. The workers. Now, mill owners considered this concept that okay, you want some remission, you want something as a concession. We are ready to give you 20% bonus on account of World War I. So wage plus 20% bonus. However, the workers were still not ready. Workers said that we want to be at the same exact wage. They said wage plus 50% bonus. Plus 50% bonus. And the basic point of the matter is that now there's a proper deadlock that mill owners are now bringing in new labor from outside. Workers are striking, the tensions are rising, and nobody wants to budge in. Mill owners are also right, the workers are also right, but nobody was ready to come to the negotiating table or budge. Now, one of the most important personalities, and I'll show you his name, is very important. Ambalal Sarabhai. Do you know who is the son of Ambalal Sarabhai? You know him very well. Son of Ambalal Sarabhai. Yes, very good. He is the father of Vikram Sarabhai. Vikram Sarabhai, rocket man, the most important personality who literally created ISRO. And the sister of Vikram Sarabhai, Anusuya Sarabhai, was a very good friend of Gandhi. Very good friend of Gandhi. So, Ambalal Sarabhai is one of the mill owners. He's a friend with Gandhi, but Anusuya Sarabhai will say to Gandhi, please get involved. Please get involved in breaking this deadlock. And now Gandhi will come in and say, okay, I will try to break this deadlock. But Gandhi's understanding was that the workers' demand is too much. The mill owners' demand is or too less. Not yours. 35% is okay. 35% is okay. Neither 50, neither 20. 35% is okay. I believe that this much bonus the workers should also be happy with. And the mill owners also should consider 35%. 35% is good. But the mill owners still were not ready to budge. They were like 20%, no more. And now Gandhi, why Ahmedabad is known so much, Gandhi will use his last technique in Ahmedabad, fasting. He will literally sit fast onto death, which is that I will not eat unless the mill owners agree to 35%. Now you tell me that will the mill owners have the capacity or even the audacity to let Gandhi die because of 15%? Obviously not. And this is the annoying part of Gandhian method. I will kill myself if you will not agree. So 35% will be accepted by the mill owners once Gandhi is going to get involved. And this will again be one of the success stories of Gandhi, that he was able to resolve a worker issue. Get my point? Can we read it out? And then we discuss his larger strategy till this point, and that is the end of it. Okay. Ahmedabad, leading industrial town. Mill owners face scarcity of labor. So in 1917, when the outbreak of plague starts, they give them, to dissuade the worker from not going out of town, they give them a bonus, which is the plague bonus. However, once the epidemic is over, bonus was discontinued. Workers did not like this move. They demanded that owing to wartime inflation, they should still get 50%. Mill owners were ready with 20%. The workers demanded 50%. Simple. Ambalal Sarabhai, one of the millowners. Anusuya Sarabhai was the sister of Ambalal and had great respect for Gandhi. She will get involved and ask Gandhi. Gandhi will propose 35% instead of 50%. He will begin a Satyagraha. He will meet the workers, deliver a lot of lectures, and spread a lot of pamphlets. Millowners opened the mills in March of 1915, announced that anybody who's ready for 20% hike can come. Once Gandhi saw that people were not agreeing to him, he will go on to fast on to death to persuade or pressurize the millowners. He was able to start the negotiation. Settlement will be reached. 35% hike was agreed. Done. This is the three: Champaran, Kheda, Ahmedabad. What they demonstrated was the effectiveness of non-violence in Champaran, importance of not cooperating with the British or cooperating with the British, proved that a political campaign can resolve the government's resolve also. And Satyagraha was to be used as a weapon against all form of injustice. This is basically the three major takeaways. Though Champaran is also first, civil disobedience and non-cooperation. This is non-cooperation and this is fasting. So, if we understand these things, I would like to understand his initial approach and basically talk about what is this gist of till 1917-18. Because tomorrow, when we meet, we will talk about Rowlatt, Jallianwala Bagh, and non-cooperation. So, two major movements: Jallianwala Bagh, which is technically Rowlatt, Jallianwala Bagh, non-cooperation, and Chauri Chaura. Right? We are now entering the mass movement phase, and simply Gandhi's arrival has now made Indian nationalism into mass nationalism. Is this clear? Then we discuss his initial approach and we end for today. Whatever we've discussed for today, is there any problem in that? Nothing? Perfect. Okay. So what is his initial approach? First is that he considered Gopal Krishna Gokhale as his political guru. And it is Gopal Krishna Gokhale who actually suggested to Gandhi, do not join anyone. And this was the dying words of Gandhi in that sense, Gokhale in that sense, that be your own person, don't try to get involved in any of the politics. We will talk about Gandhi and Bhagat Singh when we'll talk about CDM, Gandhi's impact. Thereafter, he will start to travel extensively. This was to project his aura and importance, and also understand grassroots politics. Uses religion to mobilize the masses. Idioms means muhavras in that sense. Idioms to mobilize the masses. Again, religion as a binding factor in India. Thereafter, he also refers to religious morality than history. Basically, he does not give any references of historical figures. No historical figures. He rather would talk about religious morality, which is truth, Atma, non-violence. Basically, he's talking about self-cleansing. No interest in the political status quo. Basically, he had no interest in any existing concept or movement. And He was the one who was prepared to now bring in the masses than the Western educated elites. That is why, in the larger scheme of things, in our national movement, 1885 to 1905 is called moderates. Then 1905 to 1915 is called extremist phase. And 1915 to 1940 is called Gandhian movement. And 1940 to 1947 is people's movement. I will discuss with you why it's the people's movement, because Gandhi's role after 1940 will become extremely limited. Extremely limited. Okay. Mill owners wanted to give Molly 20%. They wanted 50%, 35% as compromise. Any issue in this point? Anyone? Are we understanding why Gandhi is doing what he's trying to do? He believes that masses can get us independence. That is why mass nationalism. Gandhian nationalism was mass nationalism. No one else till this point had ever touched the peasant. He made the peasant his constituency. He was also very clear of the pluralistic society, which is that India is a divided and multiple cultures and religions are there. So basically, he has to go beyond specific religions and take all India issues, which is after the three interventions. So now he realizes that I have shown to the people that it works. Now I need to go a little bit higher. I will discuss with you the concept of what he did with the Muslims. Don't have to worry in that sense. So don't have to worry in any way or form. I will discuss the whole Khilafat movement with you. So don't have to worry. Thank you, Molly. You don't have to worry in that sense. So we will do that. Dedicated to the ideal of United India, promised political program that was also spiritually noble. Now this is called the drama of spirituality. To keep off the British, project the aura of a Baba or a Mahatma or a concept of spirituality. Basic point is, the concept is very simple, that he knew that the Mahatma concept, the spirituality concept, will help him keep the people out, the British out. And he said that my political program is not about defeating the British. It is about getting the truth. It is about projecting the truth and bringing everybody together. So his political goal is Swaraj. But he said, my Swaraj is not getting rid of the British. It's about making everybody realize the truth, that India is united, India is plural, we need larger things. But he's technically using this drama of spirituality to keep off the British off his back, that he is not a political leader, but he's rather a spiritual leader. A leader who is trying to basically get everybody salvation, moksha, from the concept of the truth and the pain of the British. So he is now projecting a certain understanding, and that is his masterstroke. He will combine the goals of the moderates with the means of the extremists. Again, goal of the moderates was what? Constitutional means of Swaraj or independence. But the means of the extremists was engage with the British, but then use non-engagement tactics. Which is that he was not like the moderates, that he will sit around and wait for the British to do something. He will engage with the British then, but use non-engagement tactics, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, that way. First time united Hindus and Muslims, which I'm going to discuss with you tomorrow, which is non-cooperation movement is the single movement in India, and unfortunately the last one in which Hindus and Muslims came up above their larger identities, and we had a major moment in Indian history. So with this, we finish what we had to do today. I hope everything made sense. And now Gandhi's role and Gandhi's position, his strategy, his understanding is clear in the larger national movement. Getting my point, everybody? You understand the basic point here. Now Gandhi has come through. You understand his South African experience, which is very important for a mains question. And you also understand his 3 interventions. And basic point is conceptual clarity with regards to Satyagraha as a method, what is non-cooperation, what is civil disobedience. Now, what is the path ahead is very simple. We do Rowlatt. We will discuss the Defense of India Act. Rowlatt will end with Jallianwala Bagh, which we will discuss again. Once we've done with that, we will move to non-cooperation with regards to Khilafat. And once we're done with Khilafat and non-cooperation, our story will end in Chauri Chaura and with the withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement. This is for tomorrow, which is Thursday. And on Friday, we will talk about Swarajists, No Changers, HRA, HSRA, Simon Commission, and we'll end the class with the Nehru Report and Jinnah 14 points. Jinnah 14 points. So you can see we are now moving in a certain direction. By tomorrow, we should be there by 1922. Today, we reached 1918. We'll start at 1922. Then we'll start with 1923, go till 1928. Then next week, CDM, roundtable conferences, Gandhi Irwin Pact. Then we have August Offer, Cripps Mission, Quit India, INA, and then RIN Mutiny. We get independence, cabinet mission, independence. So you can see there's a standard. Now we are going period by period. We'll cover it like this. We have now brought in Gandhi in the picture. Done? Are you able to see the pathway which we are taking now? Okay. If you don't have a question, thank you so much. On Friday, we do previous year questions also. And you will see what type of questions are coming in the examination with regards to all this discussion we had till this point. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.